Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. You're at home with Melissa, and in this episode I'd like to talk to you about what's in this tiny little tank here. In here I have two African dwarf frogs. Here's one. Startle her a little. I don't usually do that, but I wanted you to get a good view of her. That one's name is Cameron. And it is a female. You can tell because of the pear-shaped body it has. It's very round and wide at the bottom, and that is to accommodate her eggs. And right now what she's eating, that thing that looks kind of like a worm, that is, oh, she's digging past it. Okay, that's a cichlid pellet. They were nibbling on them earlier. There are two African dwarf frogs in here. There's little Cameron there in the front, and hiding somewhere is Michelle. Now, I gotta tell you something. First of all, let me give a shout out to my girl Cameron, human Cameron. Cameron is my cousin Brandy's daughter. She is so sweet. One day I was here at the house and I heard my front doorbell, so I went out to see who it was. And there, standing on the porch, was little Cameron, and she was holding a paper bag, and I could see sticking out of the top of the paper bag was a plastic bag tied off at the top. Well, any of you crazy fish people, you know what that means. That's an aquatic animal in that bag. And I said to Cameron, her mother and I had been talking about the dwarf frogs not long before. I said to Cameron, I said, "Oh, is that a dwarf frog? Did you get me a dwarf frog?" I was so excited. I was like a little kid myself. I was just so thrilled to death. And Cameron said, "I'm not telling you, you have to look." I said, "It is though, isn't it?" "It is." She said, "You have to look at it." So I took the bag from her, I looked, and sure enough, there was the frog, Cameron, the one that you've been introduced to. Well, African dwarf frogs are very social, so you should always have at least two of them. And I had a gift certificate for a pet store, so I went and I got a little friend for Cameron, and the friend I named Michelle after a friend of mine named Michelle, who had been telling me, "Oh, you should get some dwarf frogs, they're really cute." And she was not kidding. They are, aren't they? They have these little tiny hands, and the very first day that Michelle Frog was here with me, she took a bite out of something she didn't like the taste of, and so then she took her little hands and was wiping them across her nose. I shouldn't say her, because Michelle, I believe, is actually a Michael. And the reason I think this is because Michelle, and I could show you if she'd make an appearance, has a flatter body that's more straight. Oh, see that thing that little Cameron took a bite out of, that green thing right there? What that is that is a cichlid wafer. And basically it's algae and things dried and compressed. I'm not a cichlid wafer, sorry, pleco wafer. And it's basically algae and things dried and then compressed into a little disc. And I have found that these two frogs love those more than any of the plecos, more than any of the shrimp, more than anyone. They absolutely adore them. So I give them a lot of pleco wafers. But the African dwarf frog is actually omnivorous, and it will eat just about anything. It's really good to give it a varied diet. You can feed it things like mealworms and earthworms that you cut up into itty-bitty little pieces. You can feed them fish flakes. Basically, just about anything they'll eat. And I think I saw Cameron take a bite out of one of those cichlid sticks just now. But I think Cameron's getting a little fat, and I saw Michelle sitting on her back one day, so we'll see if anything comes of this. But you know what I'm saying. Oh, you just ate a little snail and didn't like it and spit it out. So we'll see how this goes. If I have baby frogs someday, I'll be thrilled to death. But like I said, you should have at least two of them together, and because they really are social animals. Each one of them needs 1 gallon of water at least, which is about 3.5 liters. And in this little, oh, there's Michelle. Michelle likes to hide a lot. In fact, that's something else that you should know about the African dwarf frogs, is that they like hiding. They like having a lot of little hidey places, which is why I have so many plants in here. But I've taken care to make sure that at the top I only have a few plants growing. They're floating, and I will be taking those out of the tank and putting them in a different one. They'd be fine there because there aren't a lot, but you don't want to put a whole lot there because the African dwarf frog is a fully aquatic animal. It spends its entire life in the water. And in fact, if one of these guys would climb out of here, and they can climb, so make sure you have a good lid on top, but if one of these guys would climb out of here, they cannot survive more than 20 minutes outside of water. They'd be dead within 20 minutes. But the poor little things, okay, they can't survive more than 20 minutes out of water. They have to be in water, but they have to breathe air, which means they have to be able to make it to the water surface, which is why I said that these are actually very sparse and there's a lot of spaces for them to get through. Otherwise, I wouldn't allow them to be up there at all. But even though these are pretty easy plants for them to get through, I make sure that there aren't very many of them at the top of the tank, and so that it doesn't impede their progress to the water surface to get their air, because they have to live their whole lives in the water, but they can drown. And the odds are so stacked against these poor little things. Not only that, but they're weak swimmers. In Africa, where they come from, of course, they live in really shallow pools of water that's no more than 7 to 8 inches or 17 to 20 centimeters deep. So these pools are really, really shallow. So you have to make sure that your tank that you put them in is also very shallow, because if you put them in a deep tank, being the weak swimmers that they are, they can actually have too much trouble getting to the top of the water, and again, they can drown. So make sure that when you have them, you keep that in mind, okay? Because, you know, look at them. They're so cute. You wouldn't want to drown them. Oh, I wouldn't want to drown anyone. That's a horrible thing. But like I said before I got excited and distracted, each one of them needs at least 1 gallon or about 3.5 liters of water. And these two little ones are actually pretty lucky. They have 2.5 times that each. Now, if we end up having little baby frogs at some point, of course, I'll be looking for new homes for them. If I'm giving them away, I'll let you know. Maybe you'd be interested. But I might be able to rehouse them here within my house. So I don't know what's going to happen yet. I don't even know if we're going to have babies. But look at Cameron. Look at her. She looks like she's babyish, I think. I think that looks like a pretty full abdomen there. I hope so. I would love to see them when they're just babies. And they're so much fun to watch because being that they have to go to the top for air, you see them going up a lot. They swim around a lot. And look, there's Michelle going behind the rock. Michelle goes behind that rock a lot. And in fact, the reason I put that rock there isn't to give them additional hiding places, because they have plenty of places they can hide. They can hide behind the moss, the filter, behind any of these plants, and they like that. I put it there actually in case any of them is tired someday, to get them even closer to the water surface so that they don't have to work as hard to get there. Yeah, I know that seems kind of silly, but I'm extra glad it's there because Michelle, see her there? She likes it back there. Oh, and the neat thing about Michelle is, okay, Cameron, of course, being an actual female, she's got that pear-shaped body. And Michelle, who's actually a male and being camera shy right now, has a more straight body, not that pear shape. And Michelle has a white nose, like the tip of her nose is white. And I think that just is really cute. It makes it look pointy though. It makes it look very pointy. But yeah, the tip of her nose is white. And I just think that's so neat. So they're easy to tell apart because it's easy to tell the sex differentiation between them. The body shape is entirely different. But the nose thing, even if you couldn't tell otherwise, you can tell by the little nose. And I want to make sure I took some notes down to make sure I didn't forget to tell you anything that I thought was important, because a lot of times I'll do a video for you guys and a few hours later I'll say, oh shoot, I forgot to say this or I forgot to say that. And so, okay, I know what the only other point that I wanted to make was, and that is that these are very docile animals. They're not prone to attacking other animals, and so you can keep them with other fish, but what you want to do, what you want to make sure to do if you're keeping them with other fish, is to keep them with peaceful fish. Pet store owners will quite often suggest that betta fish are a good companion for them, as are guppies, tetras, things like that. Very peaceful and docile little fish who aren't going to attack them. They're weak swimmers and they really don't have much defense against attack. They don't have big mouths, they don't have teeth, they don't have spines. So if you're going to house them with fish, make sure that you house them with really peaceful little fish. And one other thing, don't handle them, please, 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 pretty please, do not handle these frogs. First of all, and you might be aware of this, I think a lot of people know this, they do carry salmonella. In fact, if you buy them from a pet store, a lot of pet stores will have you sign a release saying that you have been instructed about the problem with the salmonella. But that's not the only reason. I mean, you can handle animals who can carry salmonella and then wash your hands thoroughly after. That's not the main reason not to handle them. The main reason is, like other aquatic animals, they have a slime coating and it protects them. It protects their skin from the water. It also protects them against bacterial infections. And if you handle them, you interfere with that. And so you can leave them open to infections or even death. And there again, like the don't drown your frogs thing. Don't kill them. See, notice how, see, there's Michelle. There's the little white nose. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but what you can see is that Michelle's body is very straight. It's very straight. She's like built like a little rectangle almost. And then little Cameron has the pear-shaped body. So there's the sex differentiation, male, female. And really easy to tell. I wish that it was easy like that to tell with Oscars, because I love my Oscar cichlids, but I don't know if they're boys or girls. And it doesn't really matter. Once they get a name, they keep it, even if it turns out that they shouldn't have that name. But like, I like the Michelle that's actually a Michael, because I wanted to name one of my frogs after my friend Michelle, and there is that name Michael that in human world translates really well for a boy, so it's fine. What you're seeing here on the glass, these little spots and specks that are moving slowly, you probably, a lot of you know. Do you know what that is? Yep, snails. And if you've seen some of my videos before, you probably know that I absolutely don't mind them. I have a couple of different species of snails who have inhabited almost all of my tanks at this point. And I don't mind them one single little bit, because first of all, if you look, you'll see that this glass is really clear. There's no algae at all on it. The snails help keep the algae cleaned off the glass, as well as keeping things that grow on the plants off of those. In addition to that, my Oscars absolutely love to eat snails. It's one of their favorite things, and I could feed them to my lizard as well. I have a lizard, a bearded dragon named Spike. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you've seen I did a video introducing her a little bit ago, and she can eat these snails as well. They're not toxic. Make sure, however, if you want to feed snails to any of your animals who eat them, that you don't just go collect them from the outdoors, whether it be in a lake, your yard, the woods, anywhere like that. Some snails are toxic. You want to know what you're dealing with, okay? So that you don't poison the animals you feed them to. And also, you wouldn't want to bring them in and introduce them into tanks unless you knew kind of what they were going to do once they were there, because a lot of snails will absolutely devour plants as well. These guys don't, and so I like having them around. But here's the thing, look at the plant in the middle in the back there. I can't even remember what it's called, and it's something really common. Huh. Apparently I'm going senile early. But if you see, there are little pockets of just kind of a goo with white dots in it all along that plant. And here on this as well, and here on this. I do know the names of some of these plants, but the important thing is here there's some, there's some, all over the place. And in fact, on the glass, on the back and the sides, there are crescent moons with white dots in a clear, slimy, liquid-looking thing, mucusy stuff. Those are all snail eggs, so pretty soon this tank is going to have snails harvested, because pretty soon the population of them is going to go absolutely through the roof. And that's okay. I'll harvest them and either put them into a tank that has no snails and needs the help with the keeping it clean, or I'll give them to my Oscars and things like that. So that's not a problem. And that's really all I wanted to tell you. I just wanted to show you these guys because they're so cute. And to my human Cameron, again, thank you so much. I absolutely love watching these guys. They're just adorable, and they're always doing something. They're digging in amongst the gravel and the substrate. They're doing their little happy frog thing that they do together, or digging around in the Java moss there. They like to do that, pecking at things. And the cutest thing I ever saw, like I said, was that time that Michelle ate something she didn't like and then was taking her little hands and wiping her nose as if to say, "Oh, ew, yuck, I can't get the taste out of my mouth." And that was really adorable. But that's it for our video on the African dwarf frogs. If you have anything that you'd like to share, if you have frogs yourself and you'd like to share some more information about them, or if you have any questions or any comments about them, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below the video. And well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found some interesting information that you were able to go away with from this video. And until the next time, I hope you just enjoy your life and just go out there and have fun and learn a lot and experiment with things. And if anything fun happens that you want to tell us about, we would love to hear it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.